At Mariah City, we believe healing matters spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. As we recognize Mental Health Awareness Month, Jesse courageously opens up about his personal mental health journey, the challenges he faced, the coping tools he's learned, and the growth that he's experienced through therapy and support. We pray this conversation encourages hope, healing, and understanding.
Thank you for coming in today, Jesse. I applaud you for taking a step and coming to therapy. I know it's not easy, especially being a black man and a black woman in our society. Our mental health gets overlooked entirely too much. And there are multiple factors that contribute to that. The first one being that a lot of our black families are uninsured, which means we're unable to afford the proper healthcare treatment, see the correct individuals to treat these mental health disorders before they get worse. Secondly, to add on to that, the racial discrimination that we experience in our healthcare system is completely unacceptable. Then lastly, our families, our peers, our friends, who throw out these stereotypical comments that black men can't cry, that black women have to be strong. But little do they know, the third leading cause of death in our black young men is suicide. So what do you think about that?
Does this look like a child that will one day attempt to take their life, or as they say today, unalive themselves? What about this? I'm sure that wasn't in my parents' heads when they brought me home. But when you grow up being bullied, constantly being put down by friends, on the end of careless comments by family and internalizing all of that while struggling with undiagnosed anxiety, constantly giving and being taken advantage of, what do you expect? Then as an adult, you would question, judge, and label when you begin to cope with sex, drugs, and toxic relationships. Well, on December 11, 2018, the darkness overtook me and I had an unexpected meltdown while living with another person. I took a brick and cracked my phone and then broke it in half with my bare hands. Then the next day, I found an old phone to use and went to work like any normal day. Why? Because I had a meeting. And this is why it's so important to ask people how they're doing. Just because a person is present physically doesn't mean they're present mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. And at that point, I was serving in church, in the choir, praising with other believers. But even the psalmists, who were also choir members and leaders in the temple, wrote in Psalms 42 that though he was in the house of God, shouting and praising with the people, his tears were his food day and night. Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me? See, you can love and serve God faithfully and still find yourself struggling under the weight of depression. Anyway, as I was heading home, I decided I didn't care anymore. I got off the LIRR before my stop and walked 45 minutes to where I parked. By the time I got to my car, I had swallowed about 60 prescription and over-the-counter pills. And I got in my car and went to sleep. I woke up to my mom banging on my window. The crazy thing is, I never told anyone where I was and I turned my phone off so no one could call me. She saw the empty pill bottles and called 911. My heart went out of rhythm, so I was admitted to the hospital for a couple of days. And for those 2 days, they brought me food, but I didn't eat. I just laid there. A young man was assigned to be my room monitor to watch me, and one afternoon, the dietary aide saw that I didn't eat. And the room monitor looked at him and said, "Don't worry, he gonna get hungry eventually," as if what I was doing was an act or a joke. When the doctor was ready to discharge me, she asked me one last time if I wanted to hurt myself. I thought about saying no. That would be easy. But I heard God say, "Trust me, be courageous and give me a yes." So I was taken to a psych hospital for about 2 weeks to get me started on medicine therapy, all while wearing a bright red allergy wristband that just said nuts. That was fun. But what seemed like defeat to most, even me, was actually the start of a journey towards victory.
Wow, that's quite a story. So tell me, what would you say to younger Jesse if you could have given him a heads up to what was coming?
I'd say to my younger self, I know you feel misunderstood, and I know you're struggling and suffering in silence, but it won't last forever. Understand you will not see a turnaround overnight. Medication is not a quick fix to getting back on level ground. Medication just stops the turbulence. And at times, the journey will seem longer and harder as you go along. You will stumble. People will try to reattach those old labels to you. Ignore them. Brokenness can be redeemed. And I promise if you don't give up and keep giving yourself another chance and remain guarded but not caged in, the light at the end will be the brightest you've ever known it to be. And once you've seen it, become it and let your light shine. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. Scorn the shame by talking about it. Someone is waiting for you to tell your story.
So, 7.5 years later, what does life look like for you now?
7.5 years later, my life looks like no medication required, therapy as needed. My days are chaotic and I'm still not perfect, but I have my joy back and all I see is greater. And one more thing, if the devil still wants to attempt to take me down, try me again and find out, clown.